A vast white silence stretches across the top of the world. No cities, no borders, no noise, just ice. Endless, frozen, unmoving. But beneath that silence, something is shifting. Not loudly, not violently, but deliberately. Far from the headlines, beyond the reach of everyday attention, a silent battle has already begun. And almost no one is watching. The Arctic was never meant to matter. For centuries, it was dismissed as a frozen wasteland, a place explorers feared, a place maps barely understood, a place the world ignored. But the ice is no longer what it used to be. It's thinning, cracking, retreating, and with every passing year, the Arctic is revealing something that was never meant to be exposed. Not just water, not just land, but opportunity, power, control. Because beneath that frozen surface lies one of the greatest untapped reserves on Earth: oil, natural gas, rare minerals. Trillions of dollars, locked away for millennia, now slowly becoming reachable. And suddenly the Arctic is no longer empty. It's valuable, dangerously valuable. The transformation didn't happen overnight. It crept in, a degree warmer here, a layer thinner there, until the ice began to open. And when it did, the world noticed. Shipping routes that once took weeks, now cutting through the Arctic, saving time, saving fuel, saving billions. The Northern Sea Route, the Northwest Passage. Paths that used to exist only in theory, now becoming reality. And whoever controls these routes controls the future of global trade. This is no longer about geography. This is about dominance. And when dominance is on the table, power follows. The first to move aggressively was Russia. Not with announcements, not with declarations, but with action. Bases began appearing across the Arctic coastline. Old Soviet facilities, rebuilt, modernized, expanded. Airfields carved into ice. Missile systems placed where no one expected them. Icebreakers, massive, nuclear-powered machines, cutting through frozen waters like blades. Russia didn't just arrive in the Arctic. It planted itself there, firmly, silently, and most importantly, prepared. But silence doesn't go unnoticed forever. The United States began to respond, carefully, strategically. Submarines started moving under the ice. Surveillance increased. Military exercises, quiet, controlled, but intentional. And behind it all, alliances. NATO watching, NATO adapting. Because this isn't just about territory, it's about presence, influence, a message without words. We see you. And then there's China, a country with no Arctic border, no direct claim, and yet it's here. Not with military bases, not with missiles, but with something equally powerful: investment, infrastructure, partnerships. China calls itself a near Arctic state, a phrase that sounds harmless, almost technical. But behind it lies a long-term strategy. Control the routes, fund the projects, own the future. While others prepare for conflict, China prepares for influence. And in a race like this, influence can be just as dangerous as a firepower. Because the real battle in the Arctic isn't loud. There are no explosions, no breaking news alerts, no visible war. It's a chess game. Every move calculated, every position earned, every silence intentional. Beneath the ice, submarines glide unseen. Above it, satellites watch everything. On the surface, ships carve paths through waters that were once impossible to cross. And slowly, the Arctic is transforming from a frozen void into a global crossroads. This is where the hidden race intensifies. The world's shortest trade routes are emerging here. Asia to Europe in nearly half the time. No choke points, no traditional bottlenecks, just open, icy pathways. And whoever dominates these routes doesn't just move goods faster, they reshape global economics. They decide who benefits and who falls behind. This is no longer about cold territory. This is about rewriting the map of global power. And the tension is rising, quietly but unmistakably. Military budgets for Arctic operations are increasing. New technologies designed specifically for polar warfare are being developed. Drones that can survive extreme cold, submarines that can stay hidden longer, communication systems that operate where nothing else can. This isn't preparation for peace. This is preparation for possibility. Because in a place with no clear ownership, no defined boundaries, and no single authority, the smallest mistake can mean everything. A miscalculation, a collision, a misunderstood movement beneath the ice, and suddenly, silence turns into escalation. There are no crowds in the Arctic, no witnesses, no immediate consequences. And that's what makes it dangerous. Because when no one is watching, the rules can change. The Arctic Council exists. Diplomacy exists. Agreements exist. But history has shown something again and again. When resources, power, and strategic advantage collide, agreements don't always hold. And here, everything is colliding. Climate change, energy demand, military ambition, economic strategy, all converging at the top of the world. This isn't just a regional issue. What happens in the Arctic doesn't stay in the Arctic. It affects fuel prices, global trade, military balance, political alliances. The ripple effects don't freeze, they spread. And yet, most of the world continues as usual. Focused on visible conflicts, obvious tensions, loud headlines, while something far more subtle and potentially far more significant unfolds in the background. Because the Arctic doesn't announce its importance, it reveals it, slowly, relentlessly. The ice will continue to melt, the routes will continue to open, the competition will continue to intensify. And one day, the silence may not hold. A single incident, a single misstep, a single moment where calculation fails, and the coldest place on Earth could become the hottest point of conflict. But by then, it won't feel sudden. It will feel inevitable. Because the battle for the Arctic isn't coming. It's already here, unseen, unspoken, but very real. And when history looks back at this moment, it may not remember the noise from other conflicts. It may remember the silence, the stillness, the quiet movements beneath the ice. Where nations didn't shout, they positioned, they waited, they prepared. Because sometimes, the most dangerous wars aren't the ones you hear, they're the ones you don't.